Hey, welcome back to the channel. This is a new video on SAP S/4HANA project systems. In this video series, we are going to learn about status management in SAP project systems. Do not forget that we're also having an upcoming batch on SAP S/4HANA project systems where you can learn project systems end to end. And do not forget to register for it. The link of registration is in the description. You can also register by clicking on the QR code on the screen. And do register before 12th of November to get an early bird discount of flat 10% off on the course. Register now and become an S/4HANA Product Systems expert, which is a niche skill in finance consulting.
Now let's create one project, CJ20N. Then I'll go to create a project. Let's create. So the moment I select this project profile, my status profile will automatically be derived from this project profile, as I've showed you in the configuration. So you can see here, my user status is automatically set to created. Why? Because in my status profile, I have marked created as the initial status. So the first status that the system will automatically mark is the CRTD. Now let me show you the status columns here. So here you can see the system status, created is here. Now you can see here status with status number. So I have created three statuses, 10, 20, 30 and one without status number. So you can see for the status with status number, you will get radio buttons. You can select only one status at a time. For status without status number, you will get check boxes. So you can select, if you have created multiple status without status number, you can select the checkbox. And you can see here at the bottom, I am getting the status profile, which has come from the project profile. So now let us test whether I can go from created to budgeted. See, it is giving me an error. Status BUDG is not allowed. If I click on this, it will tell me clearly that I am moving from 10 to 30, and that is why this action is not allowed. So it has told me the user status BUDG has a reference number 30. In the current object, the reference number of a status may not be higher than 20. So if I can go to my configuration, I can see here. From 10, I can move up to 20 only. So this is the significance of the lowest and highest status number. So as you can see, we have configured three numbered statuses and one non-numbered status. Now we'll get into the configuration of what is within this status, how we can configure the status to allow or disallow a business transaction, and how we can do the configuration so that if we do a business transaction, a particular status is set by the system automatically. That we'll see now. So let me configure the status profile for WBase element. So in the status CRTD, I'll double click and then let's add some business transactions. So I'll try to forbid the total cost planning against this WBase element. So let's do that. So I'll go to total cost planning. You can see here the total cost planning is here. So what I'll do is I'll forbid this and let's save. So now let's do planning for this particular, for a WBase element. Let's open first the project builder. So I have this project. Here I can see a WBase element is with the user status CRTD. So now let's do planning for this particular WBase element. So if I go to CJ40, press enter. So you can see the system gives you an error that errors found, access the error log. So if I go to the error log, I can see user status CRTD is active. Now I'm getting two errors because I have two WBase element where the user status has been set as CRTD. And if I go to the configuration, let me again go to the configuration, why the system is not allowing me to do the cost planning. So let's see. Again, I'll go to the project systems. And you can see here, if I go to the WBase element status profile for created, I have prohibited the total cost planning. So this is the way I can prohibit some transactions to be done when your user status is set for some particular value. So in this case, what I have configured is if my user status is CRTD, I'll not be able to do total cost planning. Now let's understand what is this next action column. So the next action means that when I do a particular business transaction, what would be the next action of a particular status? That is, if I do budgeting and if I click on set and save, then whenever I'll do budgeting, my user status will change to created. That is the whole idea. Now created is my initial status. So I'll be doing this particular configuration for some uh, subsequent user statuses. Like after created, I have something called as approved. So I can set that whenever I release the WBase element, whenever I release the project, my user status should change from created to approved. So that is how the next action works. That when you do this particular transaction, what would be the next action? And if you click on set, then that particular business transaction will set the user status as what you have configured here. So let's configure that. So I'll go to approved and I'll click on new transactions and I'll find release business transaction here. Let's see. Release is here. So what I'll do is I'll click on set. So what this action will do, whenever I release the WBase element or the project definition, then my user status will be set as APPR, that is approved. So now this I have done for the WBase element. Let's do this for the project definition also. Let's go to the project definition, then approved, and for the action release, let's select the release. I'll make it as set and then save. So what I have done, whenever I am going to release the project definition or the WBase element, my user status will change to APPR. This is what I have configured. This next action means that whenever I do this particular business transaction, my next action will be to set the user status to the status APPR. Now let's test this. So I'll again go to the project builder. Let me open the project again. And I'll just release this project. So you can see the user status is CRTD currently. Now let's release this. So I'll go to status and release. So you can see the user status has changed to APPR and the system status has changed to REL. So this is how we have configured that whenever I'll release the project definition or the subsequent WBase elements also, you can go and see in the WBase element also, my user status has changed to APPR. So this is how you can configure that for a particular user status, if you do a transaction, then it will be automatically set. So whenever I will release the project definition or I'll release the WBase element, I have configured the user status so that my user status changed to APPR, that is approved. So I'll save this. Now let's configure APPR also. Let's configure that when the project is approved, still I cannot add budget to it unless I change the user status to BUDG, that is budgeted. So again, I'd go to the status profile configuration. I'll go to this for WBase element and for approved for the budgeting part. So let's say budgeting I'll forbid. Okay. Budget transfer also I'll forbid, budget receiver, every budget related transactions I will forbid. Okay. Availability control also I'll forbid. So you have to just see what all business transactions are there which are applicable. You have to select that particular applicable business transaction and then you have to save. Let's test this whether it works or not. So what I'll do is, now your project definition and WBase element user status is APPR. Let's try to add budget to this particular project. So again, you see you have got an error. If I go to the error log, I'll get errors like user status APPR is active for both the WBase elements. So because of this APPR activation, I cannot add budget to my WBase elements. So now I'll change my user status from APPR to BUDG. Now, if I go to CJ30, and for my WBase element also, I'll change it to BUDG. So now if I go to CJ30, I can add budget to my WBase element. So this is how the user status works. Try to create your own user status profile, your own user statuses. Try to configure the business transactions, what all business transactions you want to forbid. You can create numbered user status also and non-numbered user status also. So I hope you have understood the whole concept of status management in the project definition and the WBase element. And I think that you will be able to configure this.
I hope you found this video useful. If you're having any comments on the content, please do let us know in the comment section. We will try to make as many changes as possible. And again, do not forget to like the video, share it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. And do not forget to register for the upcoming online project systems training batch. See you in the next video. Take care.